You're listening to the Accelerator Network Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Accelerator Network, the live show where we bring you the current economic news and more. Today, we're going to be talking about the dollar milkshake theory. But first, we're going to get into some quick economic news. Today, we heard that Disney's closed parks are bleeding billions. Approximately $1.4 billion so far has been lost by Disney parks, and they're forecasting $1 billion a month in losses. Disney Plus has been a lifesaver for them. They have had subscriber counts that were not suspected for another 4 years. The next thing that we wanted to talk about is the ADP jobless numbers, and these were released today. 20.2 million job losses in April have been reported, mostly restaurants and retail so far, but these are starting to creep into the higher six-figure jobs are starting to get hit now. And the last piece of news I want to tell you about is a hotspot has emerged in northeast Georgia. And this is interesting because Georgia has been the first state that has reopened at this time. And the number of new cases in the Gainesville area has increased exponentially each week during April. State officials are now setting up a mobile hospital. So let's get into today's topic, the dollar milkshake theory, the incoming global currency crisis. Now, the dollar milkshake theory was created by Brent Johnson, CEO of Santiago Capital, and it's just a theory, so, it's not sure if this is going to happen or not, but over time, you can see that the U.S. dollar has actually been gaining momentum. It's very strong. It's rallying despite extreme levels of QE, which is quantitative easing. And we're just now starting to see it pop over the 100 level. And this is what you're looking at here is the DXY. This is just a comparison of the U.S. dollar versus other currencies such as the euro, the yen, the Chinese RMB. This is just a comparison of these currencies, and what's kind of happening right now is all of these currencies are stimulating their economy by printing money, and they're pretty much all falling down a elevator shaft, if you will, at the same time. So they're all falling at a level with themselves. But the U.S. dollar is said to be growing strength because it has been mainly the backbone of the U.S. The backbone of the monetary system. The strength of the U.S. dollar will cause some bad things, and things are going to be hard for global currency markets moving forward. A lot of people will disagree with this, and it's just a theory. The dollar will move higher, and it's getting started right now. The dollar is going to go much higher over the next year or so. The whole world is just one trade right now, and this is what Brent Johnson is saying. Everything wraps around the dollar, and all roads go through the dollar. And what does this mean? Everything comes down to cash flow. So moving forward, whether you're talking about a family, a business, or a country, if you don't have enough supply to cover the problems that we're going to see in the future, you need cash flow to support the debt you have. So if you don't have enough supply of money on hand right now to pay off your debts immediately, you're going to need cash flow over time to support the debt that you have. So the milkshake, what is the milkshake? Over the last 20 years, countries have been injecting $20+ trillion into value into their global economies. This is the milkshake that all countries created, a milkshake of liquidity. And I created this, I have this picture of this milkshake over here that, it's a big candy slurry, and you know what happens when you have too much candy? You crash. And that is kind of what we're coming into right now. The U.S. has started drinking the milkshake while the rest of the world is still mixing it. So the U.S. has actually had a pretty a different monetary policy than most of these countries. You'll see that Germany has negative interest rates while we have maintained a positive interest rate over the last 5 years. And up until recently, the U.S. Federal Reserve has not had an aggressive push towards easing and monetary stimulus. And they have not implemented negative interest rates, like I just said. The milkshake outcomes, the implications of this is the U.S. dollar is going to strengthen a lot. It's going to have this supernova strength. This is what Brent Johnson described. the dollar strength will lead to all kinds of trouble in international markets. It ultimately will cause a currency crisis. And why is the strong dollar bad? Well, our current monetary system cannot handle this. There's over $1 trillion a year demand for the US dollar just to pay the interest on the dollar-based debt. And in reality, it's probably more like $2 trillion. And the dollar is seen as a safe haven. The strong dollar builds on itself. So the arguments against the dollar milkshake theory, and these are interesting. Why don't people just leave the dollar system? Why don't these other countries just say, you know what, sorry, we owe you US dollars. Why don't we just default? And, well, they can, and that's fine. But what happens when a borrower defaults on the debt, the monetary money evaporates, causing additional supply shock to the system. It's like a game of musical chairs where the chairs are constantly disappearing as the dollar is destroyed as borrowers default. So there's less dollars in the system if people just walk away from the game. So as people walk away from the game, the chairs disappear and there's less chairs to sit down on when there's a problem. But what about the QE? What about all the money printing right now? Honestly, it's not enough. They are not doing enough compared to the rest of the world. They will need to print 20 trillion plus US dollars immediately to keep the dollar milkshake theory from happening. And that's just a theory. It's unknown. They've printed a ton of money up to this point. But in retrospect, it's just probably not enough. So the dollar circle, you can get into a place where the dollar strength begets more dollar strength. So as people want more dollars, more people will want dollars. As the dollar strengthens, it causes problems for other currencies. People will flee that currency for the dollar. So what do you think? Is this actually going to happen? Is things going to move towards the dollar and cause this strengthening event? Will it come out of equities and bonds and just move into cash? I know that Warren Buffett is banking on that. He has $150 billion currently on the sidelines waiting to buy up companies and assets that are in distress. So put a comment below on what you think is going to happen with the dollar. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please like and subscribe and post a comment below. And if you found this useful, please come back and watch more videos, and I'll see you in the next episode.